This is a video I took while at Emain Macha. It was the political centre of Ulster in pre-Christian Ireland and is mentioned many times in the pre-Christian Irish stories that make up the Ulster cycle. So as this is an Orthodox Christian channel, you might wonder, why is something like this interesting to me and something to include on this channel? Well, in fact, I was not very interested in pre-Christian Ireland until I became an Orthodox Christian. It was when I was studying the lives of Irish saints that I discovered that the pre-Christian stories, like those in the Ulster cycle, were written down and preserved in the scriptoriums of Irish monasteries. Before Christianity arrived in Ireland, there was a form of writing known as Ogham script, but it was limited in what it could communicate. Stories were known and passed down orally. When Christianity arrived, with it came knowledge of Latin and Greek. Irish monasteries were especially focused on their scriptoriums and copied many texts. This was of course focused on the Bible, the writings of the Church Fathers, lives of saints, and other such Christian-themed writings. However, they also obtained and copied books of Latin and Greek culture, such as the Iliad or the poetry of Virgil. It was therefore natural to follow the example of the Eastern Christians and preserve their own pre-Christian culture. This is perhaps unusual to modern Christians. I was thinking of making this video, but finally decided to after I recently came across a term in Abbot Odo's Life of St. Gregory of Tours. He wrote that, in regards to the pre-Christian poetry, that St. Gregory avoided the double excess. Abbot Odo explains that the double excess is either to completely shun pre-Christian culture or to become obsessed with it. To me, this is quite clear. We can appreciate an aspect of a culture without adopting their entire system of beliefs. The Church has done this in other areas. For example, pre-Christian techniques in architecture, art, and poetry were later used in church architecture, iconography, and church hymns. When we read the pre-Christian Irish stories, we often find tales of bravery and romance. It's also part of our unique national identity and history, and ultimately the Irish abbots and monks must have felt that there was some value in preserving this for future generations. To read these stories, you can go to this website, maryjones.us, which I'll link in the description, and it has a very large list of them. Some of these stories will actually intersect with the Christian period as well. I would first of all recommend the Book of Invasions. So much could be said about it, not possible in this short video. Also the Book of Britain, which has an excellent section on St. Germanus of Auxerre's journey to Britain to fight Pelagianism. Also, I found particularly good the First and Second Battle of Moytura. Also from the Ulster cycle, and probably the best known pre-Christian Irish story is the cattle raid of Cooley, and really all of the stories that involve Cuchulainn as well are excellent. If you're like me and you don't like reading from a screen, what I do is I go into the posts from this list and copy and paste it into a Word document and then get it onto my Kindle either via the Kindle email address or a program like Calibri. The website also has a section called Celtic Ecclesiastical Texts, which should be of great interest and has been a very frequent resource for me.